All right, guys, welcome to week 21. We have 4 more weeks, and we will be done. And today we're going to introduce the last new thing, or the last couple of new things for the year. We're going to introduce our last structure, and then we'll be looking at a different way to use one of our parts of speech. Okay? So I just wanted to give you an overview for these last few weeks. We are going to move on to compound complex structure. We'll be doing that for these remaining 4 weeks. This week, we will be looking specifically at the SVI pattern and the SVT-DO pattern. Okay, who can tell me what is the SVI pattern? What does that stand for? Subject, verb. What kind of a verb? Intransitive, very good. What about the SVT-DO?
Subject, verb, transitive, direct object.
Okay. What is the difference between a verb intransitive and a verb transitive?
Verb transitive transfers action, verb intransitive does not transfer action.
All right, and it's transferring action from where to where?
From the subject to the verb.
From the subject to the...
From subject to the direct object.
Very good. Yes, that is correct. So the direct object is receiving action from the verb. Very good. So we'll be looking at those 2 patterns specifically this week, moms. There will be different purposes. We'll be looking at all the purposes for the most part because we've covered all of them. Let me just double check that. Sometimes the sentences surprise me. No, I think they're all declarative. Yeah. So feel free, you might want to review the different purposes with your students this week because they are all declarative sentences for the practice sentences. Let's move on then to what is the compound complex structure? What does that consist of? So we have compound complex. So it's a compound description, no pun intended. Tell me about compound. What is a compound sentence? What makes a compound sentence a compound sentence? Okay, very good. Let's have somebody else. Who heard what he said? Come on, guys. All right, Matthew, go ahead.
Said who heard what he said? I heard what he said.
Oh, good. So what did he say? Tell me.
He said 2 independent clauses.
2 independent clauses. All right, so if it's a compound sentence, it's going to have at least 2 independent clauses. We've talked about the structures of sentences being the organization of clauses. What is an independent clause, or how would you describe an independent clause? Let's let somebody else answer. You are on a roll. Independent clauses. What does the word independent mean? Olivia, loud and proud. What does it mean, sweetie?
It's really true.
Will you tell us? A clause that can be left alone or that can stand alone. Very, very good. You are absolutely right. So it's going to have at least 2 of those. And what have we been using with our compound sentences to join these standalone clauses? What do we use to join these clauses that can stand alone? We use fanboys. And what are fanboys? They are conjunctions. What kind of conjunctions? Somebody else, what kind of conjunctions? Good. They're coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions are going to join things of mostly equal status. Clauses, words, and phrases. And we'll talk about that more in a little bit. Okay, give me some other things about... one more thing about compound sentences. So we're running along with a compound sentence. We have our words, and then we get to our fanboy. Let's use and then la da 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 da. Is there any special form of punctuation that we might use most of the time?
A comma?
Where?
If there's a name at the beginning, you put the comma after the name.
Okay, for a noun of direct address, that would be absolutely correct. But in the context of a compound sentence with a coordinating conjunction, Rebecca, where would I put?
Right after the and.
After?
Before.
Before. Good. So that's a form of punctuation that we want to keep in mind when we're using compound sentences. Excellent. So we have reviewed compound sentences. Let's talk then about the complex component of this structure. What are some things that make a sentence complex? Okay, so compound sentences have at least two independent clauses. Complex sentences have what? What types of clauses do complex sentences have? Go ahead. Good. How many independent clauses in a complex sentence? How many independent clauses in a complex? Two. Complex? One. If it's just complex, yes, it's going to have one. No, because we're talking about the two components separately. All right, so there'll be an independent clause. What about the subordinate or dependent clauses? Any limit on those? Nope, just need to have at least one, right? Okay, so there'll be an independent clause and at least one dependent or subordinate clause. Excellent. Okay, what have we been reviewing over and over every week since we started the complex structure? All those weeks back, every week we've talked about these dependent or subordinate clauses, and what were the two ways that we classified those clauses? I'm talking about just the dependent or subordinate clauses. There were two ways that we classified them. There were two types of subordinate clauses. Yes?
Adverbial and adjectival.
Very good. So we had adverbial clauses and we had adjectival. And what do those descriptions tell us about the clause? If it's an adverbial clause, what is it telling us more about? What is it modifying? It's adverbial, so your clue is adverb. So what is it modifying? Go ahead. Confidence. It's modifying verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. Usually a verb, but yes, as long as it fits the qualifications of an adverb, it will be adverbial. And how do we introduce adverbial clauses? We had a flag. What was our flag? If we saw these, what do we use to introduce adverbial subordinate clauses?
Fanboys?
Nope, those are coordinating. We use those for compound sentences most of the time to join them together. You're on the right track, though. What was the other thing we had? So fanboys are coordinating conjunctions. We had some subordinating conjunctions, right? And subordinating conjunctions are going to introduce adverbial clauses. Do you guys remember what we use for? Go ahead. Very good. So that's our www.asia.wub. Excellent. Now, we had a flag for adjectival sentences too, but before we get to that, what's the key, what's the root in adjectival? So in adverbial, it was adverb. What is the root in adjectival? What's that root word that we can notice? Roland, what's the root word in adjectival? Adjective. So that means adjectival clauses are modifying what? They're going to be referring back to what? She's nervous. It's okay, Olivia. What is it? An adjective. Yep. And it modifies. Arabella, what do adjectives modify? Very good. They modify nouns or pronouns by describing, qualifying, or limiting. Okay, now what did we learn introduces adjectival clauses? What introduces adjectival clauses? Now, if it's modifying a noun or pronoun, in this case, it's going to replace the noun which means it's what part of speech? If it's replacing a noun, maybe in order to avoid repetition, then what is it going to be? It's going to be a pronoun. So what kind of pronouns are we going to use to introduce adjectival clauses? Do you remember what we called them? Relative pronouns. Very good, because they relate back to the word that they are telling us more about. So relative pronouns. Not going to fit. All right. Who remembers what they are? You can cheat. So, chart F. They are at the bottom. We've been reviewing them just about every week. What are the relative pronouns? They're at the bottom of the pronoun chart. Chart F. Matthew, you have them, don't you? Will you please tell us what they are? Or do you not have them? Okay. You looked like you might have them, so I was going to put you on the spot. All right, go ahead, Olivia. What do you have? Nice and loud. I know you can do it. All right. So, moms, make sure you're reviewing these, not just these subordinating conjunctions, but those relative pronouns. We're doing complex sentences the rest of this year, and those are going to be a big help to them if they know what they are, so they can recognize them when they see them in the sentence. Okay, let me make sure I'm not missing anything here. Now, subordinate clauses. Let's talk about the punctuation for just a minute. So let's say we have, and because you're more familiar with it, let's say we have a who or which clause in our sentence. How are we going to punctuate it? So I have Sam, who was hungry, went to the store to buy lunch. All right, where's my subordinate clause? What is my subordinate clause in this sentence? What is my subordinate clause in this sentence? Sam, who was hungry, went to the store to buy lunch.
Went to the store to buy lunch?
The subordinate clause is either a verb or adjectival. Which one of those do you think that falls under?
Go on. Who? Okay, who was hungry? So here we have, class, here we have our relative pronoun relating back to Sam. It's describing Sam. It's telling us more about Sam in the sentence. Subordinate clause cannot stand alone. It's going to give us more information about Sam. Now, is this necessary to the sentence? No. Not necessarily. I could say Sam went to the store to buy lunch. It's nice to know that he went because he was hungry. But is it really necessary to the sentence? Not necessarily. So how are we going to punctuate this? Punctuation. Commas where?
Right after Sam.
And?
Was or who?
Well, you don't want to separate the subject from the verb, so we don't want to put commas there. After hungry, that's right. So we're going to keep the clause as its own unit, and we use the commas to show that it's referring to Sam. This isn't necessarily necessary to the sentence, not necessarily necessary to the sentence, and we're going to punctuate it with commas. one other thing that we talked about, and let's go to the adverbial clauses now. And I'm going to say Sam bought a sandwich, although, whoops, he preferred pizza. All right, what is my subordinate clause in this one? Subordinate clause. Look for, remember we talked about our markers. We talked about our markers for subordinate clauses. If it's adverbial, it'll start with a www.asia.wub and others. If it's adjectival, it's going to start with a relative pronoun. So what's, okay, I'm hearing it. Go ahead, Roland. What's the subordinate clause? Although he preferred pizza. Okay. Written this way, the sentence is fine. But what if I start the sentence with the subordinate clause? Although he preferred pizza, Sam bought a sandwich. What do I do? How do I punctuate the sentence if I start with the subordinate clause? Do you remember? Yes, Michaela. Where? Before Sam. Yep, after the subordinate clause, I'm going to put a comma to separate it from the independent clause. All right? So just a quick review on that. All right, guys, I know it's been an interesting day. How are we holding? Okay, let's move on then. I didn't mean to spend quite this much time on this. Let's go ahead and look at compound and complex together. So we've reviewed what makes a compound sentence, and we've reviewed what makes a complex sentence. So let's put those two components together and see what we get. These are awesome. They have a magnet in them already. Just throw it on there. That's cool. Okay. Here's our sentence. Tommy tripped, poor Tommy, while he was walking but he did not fall. All right. What do you see in this sentence? What are some things that might stand out to you? What do you see?
You got to put a comma after Tommy.
Well, I'm not addressing Tommy. I'm not saying, Tommy, trip while you're walking, but do not fall. It's saying Tommy tripped while he was walking, but he did not fall. So I don't need a comma because I'm not addressing him directly. It's not an imperative sentence. It's just declarative. I'm just making a statement here. All right, what do you notice? Well, actually, no. I'm not asking about punctuation, but I completely understand why you said that because we were just talking about punctuation. I apologize. We're just looking, I'm talking about combining the two components together. We talked about compound sentences and complex sentences. Now,
Because of but.
okay. Yes. Well, I wanted them to notice something else first. But that is true. There would be a comma.
Okay. You asked what they noticed.
There is a conjunction where? While. What kind of a conjunction is while? Okay, and what kind of conjunctions are the www.asia.wub? No? Good. Do you agree? Yes, absolutely. So we have a subordinate conjunction here. Very good. Do we have, is it followed by a subject and a verb, guys? Is the subordinating conjunction followed by a subject and a verb?
Yes.
What is the subject?
He is the subject.
Okay. He, what? What is he doing? Threw you there because there's a was. This is the main verb. What would was be? This is the whole verb. So this would be what? A verb helping. Good. And since we're already going this direction, what kind of verb then is walking going to be? As far as patterns, we're not going to talk about participles and stuff.
Like principal part? Or
Yeah, well, we're talking about pattern. So if we're looking at the main pattern here. Yes, yes. So what is it? No, pattern. What pattern is it? What pattern would it be? He was walking. He was walking what? Can we answer that question? There's intransitive. Good. So yes, that's where we're going with it. We have so first of all, yes, we have a subject and a verb, so it is a true clause. Secondly, it's an SVI. Since we were going that direction, I wanted to go ahead and establish the pattern. So here we have our subordinating conjunction. We have a subject and a verb. So this then is our subordinate or dependent clause. All right. What else do we have in this sentence? It was already pointed out that we needed to put a comma. And what is after the comma in the sentence? What's after the comma in the sentence? What's this word? But. And what is but? Yes, it's a fanboy. Very good. Good. Is it followed by a subject and a verb? So what's our subject? Okay. What did he do? Okay, good. So I'm going to make it easier. This is another helping verb. And then this is a verb intransitive. Not then is telling us how he, or well, to what extent. It's answering one of our adverb questions. Okay, not fall. Did fall, not. Okay, good. Now this part, he did not fall, has a coordinating conjunction before it. Can he did not fall stand alone as a sentence? Does it make complete sense by itself? Yes, it does. So here we have an independent clause. Here we had a dependent or subordinate clause. Here is an independent clause. There's still part of the sentence that we haven't looked at yet. What part have we not looked at? Tommy tripped. Okay. Do we have a subject and a verb?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. We have Tommy,
So it can stand alone.
and he tripped, right? And you're right, it can stand alone. So how many independent clauses do we have? Two independent clauses joined by a fanboy, so it fits the qualification for compound. And then we have, what would I call this again? While he was walking. That's our what? Let the kids answer, moms. What is this? While he was walking, subordinate clause. So we have at least one subordinate clause with independent clause. It fits our criteria for complex. And we have an example of a compound complex. Yes, ma'am.
Is subordinate clause and dependent clause same meaning?
Yes. Yep. It's just two different things to call the same thing. That's why I keep using them both, because they're both terms are used in the guide, and so it's best to just use both of them. I tend to like dependent better personally because we say independent clauses, but but we also had subordinating conjunctions. So it's just good to use both terms interchangeably just to help the students get that vocabulary and yourself get that vocabulary so you understand. Okay, compound complex sentences then. If it's compound complex, you're going to have at least 2 independent clauses and at least one dependent or subordinate clause. All right. Now, let's see how we started 10 minutes late, so 10, 20, almost 30 minutes in. Okay, we're good. Let's move on then. Go ahead and take out chart H. Let's look at chart H for just a minute. Yes. Oh, you did? Okay. Chart H is conjunctions.
Mrs. Stephens, not to totally derail you, but Michaela, did she show you what you have in your hand?
Yes. So I guess we could do some math for a little bit. All right, you guys go ahead and share this one.
This is the game we saw last.
Yes, it is. You're right. Okay, wonderful. The main thing that I'm going to focus on with conjunctions, moms, is just we have used conjunctions with compound sentences a lot. So it's sometimes easy for the students to miss them when they're using them with just words or phrases. So let's just look at a couple of examples of conjunctions being used with words or phrases. And then the rest of the conjunction review I'm going to leave for you to do at home, looking at the other types of conjunctions. And I wanted to encourage you, go ahead and have your students practice using conjunctions by making up their own sentences. Just have them use conjunctions in different ways. So that can be a fun activity, and it will be a really good way to test their knowledge and your own, and be of great benefit. Okay, so let's go ahead and look then at some examples. And I'm going to use let's see, Amy called her parents and her brother. Okay. What is the subject of this sentence? Who or what called her parents and her brother? Amy did. Good. Amy what? What did Amy do? Called. Amy called who or what? Parents. Okay, parents. Did Amy call anybody else? Brother. All right, so we see here that she called more than one, and they're joined by a what?
Fanboys.
Good, so you recognize the fanboy there. Excellent. What kind of a verb is called? If we have direct object, then what kind of a verb is that going to be? Your choices are intransitive, transitive, or linking. It's a transitive verb. Very good, because it's transferring action, saying who she called. Now, what are her for her parents and her for her brother? What is her? It's what? This word here. What part of speech is this going to be when we're identifying it? Whose parents? It's a possessive pronoun adjective. Very, very good. Some people label it a PPA. All right. Now, tricky thing is, how do we diagram this when we have more than one of our components to the pattern? Well, it's going to go pretty much the same way. We're just going to get a little fancy. So we'll keep our subject here. I'll shorten this. Amy is our subject. Our verb stays in the regular spot. It's going to follow the the regular SVT-DO pattern, except we're going to have to split a bit, all right? Space shuttle, yep, that's one thing to call it. I never quite saw the space shuttle. So we'll stick, we have parents here, and brother here. Adjectives and adverbs go under the word that they modify. So we'll put her. So you want, if you're doing a sentence like this, make sure you give yourself plenty of space. Put her under parents, and we'll put her under brother. What did I miss? Oh, thank you. The conjunction. Excellent. Thank you very much. All right. And there'll be other examples in the lesson, parents, of how to diagram it if you have a compound verb, how to diagram it if you have a compound subject. And this can be a really fun activity. Stick to the SVI, SVT, DO pattern. That can be good practice for them too. And then just have them double something or triple something, the subject or the verb or the direct object.
Amy and her brother called their parents.
And their grandparents.
Now you've doubled subjects and
Direct objects, yep.
She's saying you can also have 3 direct objects. You have parents, grandparents, and brother, and you just have another line going off to the side in the middle.
Yeah, you could do grandparents here if I had it in the sentence. You just want to have lots of room, especially for our students that like to have nice, neat, and tidy diagrams when they're working on it.
And the verbs, if you do Amy called and cooked for her parents and her brother, how do you double up that verb?
All right, so I'll erase this. I'll erase all of it so it's not confusing.
You just need a prepositional phrase. For.
That's okay. We can stick it on there.
It's still a prepositional phrase.
Yeah, but you just stick it. You would just here. So what was the sentence, Vanessa? We'll go ahead and do it.
Amy called and cooked for her, and then whatever. Her parents and her brother and her grandparents.
Let's do one direct. Right. That's okay. It's okay if we have a prepositional phrase. Called and cooked
For her brother.
for.
Well, you have to have a direct I think you're looking for like what happens when you have a direct object following to a compound.
Well, I was looking for compound verb, what that looks like on a graph.
Right. So it's okay. We'll just stick with this. So because this is a prepositional phrase, as Bethel was pointing out, this is not going to function as a direct object, but we're still going to have a compound verb. So it's going to be 2 verb intransitives. All right. So we're going to have Amy. I think you just attach it.
Just like you did.
Yeah. But it's going to be called, cooked. For brother, her.
So if it's a direct object instead, like, I don't know, called.
We could say Amy called and cooked her brother.
You put it back together then?
It's a little grotesque, but yeah, it pinches back down like this.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you'd have your
Your direct
line.
object, or-
No, what? No, why not just say turkey?
Called and cooked her turkey. Okay.
Called and cooked her dog. It's better.
Woo! All right. So go ahead and play with that at home. It can be a lot of fun, and it's good practice with those conjunctions. All right. So with the last bit of time that we have, let's introduce our new chart. And moms, real quick, I was checking through things, and there is a correction for this chart. It's available on CC Connected, and I can give you the username. So it's the chart we're looking at is chart Q on verbals. So if you go to the Essentials tier, and if you have CC Connected, even if you weren't subscribed to the Essentials tier, you have access now because they've opened it up. And go ahead and go to the Essentials tier, go to week 21, language, use those as your criteria because you'll get there a lot faster, okay? So week 21 is your week. Language is your, was it category, I think? And it should say chart Q correction, verbal, something like that, but I'll give you the username. The user is CME4668. And you should be able to just print that off and then put it in your Essentials binder to replace. There was just one minor mistake on the final diagram. They didn't diagram a participle correctly. And so if you print this off and stick it in your binder, then you'll have it. And you want them to, the students to start copying things correctly now. So I just want to point that out. Okay, so over these last weeks then, we're going to be looking at verbals. A verbal is a verb, hence verbal. So that's your clue. It is a verb used as another part of speech. Did you guys get the username already? Okay. This week, we are only going to look at the first one, which is the infinitive. All right, I know some of you have probably already looked at the chart, but my second and third year or fourth year essential students, what is an infinitive? What's the form of an infinitive? Go ahead. 2 plus the verb. You will find it as a principal part of verbs on chart D, but when it is in the being, I can't talk today, I'm sorry. When it is a verbal, when the infinitive is a verbal, it's going to function as a different part of speech. So in this case, it's going to function as a noun. So it can be a noun, it can be an adjective, or it can be an adverb. So let's look quickly at a few examples. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, especially because the majority of our class is first years. So it's good for them to get the exposure, but then I don't want to overwhelm them with infinitives. But feel free, if they're ready for it, to move on more at home. Here we go. To swing is exhilarating. All right. What is exhilarating? Go ahead, guys.
Swing.
Infinitive is not exhilarating. To swing is exhilarating. But you're right. To swing is an infinitive. And how is it functioning in this sentence? What is exhilarating? To swing. So what job is to swing doing in this sentence? Not part of speech yet, just how is it functioning in this sentence? So what is it? So think of your patterns. This is a linking verb. This is a predicate adjective. So what is to swing? It is not, nope, it's the what? It's the subject of the sentence. But you bring up a very good point, and I'll get to that in a minute with the idea of prepositions. Now, swing, give me another sentence where you're using the word swing. Anybody. It can be a mom.
I love to swing from the rope course my husband made out back.
Okay, so that's you keeping it in its infinitive form, but can we use swing in another way? Say,
A monkey swings from the tree.
I swing high on my swing set. And so swing is actually a verb. Swing is an action. But in this case, we have it in its infinitive form, and it's being used as the subject of the sentence. What part of speech is usually the subject of a sentence? What part of speech is usually the subject of a sentence? Well, always, it's one of its usages. Go ahead. Yes? Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. But I'm asking for part of speech. What part of speech, think noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, conjunction, yes, a noun. So nouns function as subjects. So in this case, to swing is functioning as a noun. So do you see? We have an infinitive form functioning as a noun. We have to plus a verb, a word that is a verb, but it's functioning as the subject. And the subject is a noun. Okay? All right. Let's do another one. I have a sentence to diagram. All right. What is the subject of this sentence? I have a sentence to diagram. What's the subject, Matthew? I. Yes, I what? Have. I have what? Sentence. What is a?
Adjective.
Very good. All right, now if we have a direct object, what is have? What kind of verb is have going to be? If we have a direct object, the verb is always going to be this kind of a verb. No. It doesn't say I will have a sentence to diagram. It says I have a sentence to diagram. It's a transitive verb, yes. Good. All right. Now, what kind of a sentence? I have a sentence. What kind of a sentence? Well, a sentence, yes. But to diagram. Now, what do you see here? You see an infinitive, yes. Diagram, I diagram sentences. Diagram is usually what part of speech? It's usually a verb. But in this case, we have it in its infinitive form, and it's referring back to sentence. It's telling us about the sentence. So in this case, it is functioning as an adjective. Sentence is a noun. Adjectives modify nouns. So in this case, our infinitive is fulfilling the role of an adjective. Now, how do we diagram this? I'll show you quickly, and moms, you can go into this in more detail at your own discretion at home, because infinitives are diagrammed just a little bit differently. We maintain the normal structure, so we'll have I is our subject. I have what? Sentence. A, to, I always get these mixed up. Yeah, it hangs down. In this form, it looks a little bit like what? It looks like a prepositional phrase. So let's talk real quickly about the difference between an infinitive and a prepositional phrase, because this is very easy when you see the word to, because to is used so often in prepositional phrases. It's very easy to think that it is a preposition in the sentence. Okay, so
So that's not how you diagram it? Is that what you're saying?
no, it is. I'm just pointing out that it looks like a prepositional phrase.
Doesn't it get this little hut thing? Yes. Isn't it supposed to be up on a little stand as an infinitive?
But when it's the adjective,
Yes, you go like this, you make your drop like this, and then put it on the stand on that drop.
oh, thank you. So the whole, make the drop, go like this. Whoops.
Don't write on it, just make the whole, make your line over now, the horizontal line up front. You're right, sweep your jack, there you go. Now on that line, I want you to draw like that, yes. And now make the on in the straight part again. And now write on that one, two diagram.
Okay, so it would be up here.
Yes.
Thank you. I meant to review this before class. I was going to use a different example, not the adjective, so thank you for your help. All right, so to diagram would be this way. Thank you. Got it. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between an infinitive and a prepositional phrase. So if I say I went to the store, all right, here we have to again. But what is after to? Okay, we have the. What is the? It's an article adjective. And article adjectives modify what? Okay, in this case it's modifying store. What part of speech is store? What do adjectives modify? Or what is one of the things that adjectives modify? Adverbs modify verbs. Adjectives modify nouns. So this is a noun. All right? If you have a noun after a preposition, what is it going to be? It's going to be the object of the preposition. In order for it to be a prepositional phrase, the preposition must be followed by a noun operating as the object of the preposition. If you have to plus a verb, to swing, to diagram, to swim, pick your verb, that is in infinitive form. It is not a preposition. This word to, which can be a preposition, is not followed by a noun. It does not have an object of a preposition. Okay? So,
Objective prepositions are always nouns.
yes, that is one of the noun usages, object of the preposition.
But if it's a verb, it's probably an infinitive.
Yes. So, and infinitives are going to function as a noun, adjective, or adverb. All right. So this week, like I said, first tour moms, don't spend too much time on this unless your student is ready for it. Focus on the compound complex structure, review those conjunctions. But this is something, it's good to have the exposure to it, and they'll see it again next year, and then they'll see it again on the next tour. And repetition, the constant exposure, this is one of the great ways that we learn classically. Okay. And I went over our EEL time. So let us go ahead then. If you have your, since we do have dice, do you guys want to play Battleship?
Around the world.
I think the Conquering Europe was fun. Did you bring your Conquering Europe? Conquering Europe. No, it's Battleship. Can you do the Conquering Europe?
All right, let's do some mental math first. Go ahead and get your piece of paper ready. Try to do it in your head, but it's okay if you write it down, okay? All right. I'll wait till I'm sure everybody's ready to listen. 5 times 3 minus 2 plus 1 equals?
14.
Very good, but yeah, don't call it out. Write it down. Good job. Although it's going to be a little harder to see on the paper. Good. Let's pick another one. 2 squared plus 5 divided by 3 equals? Yep. 2 squared plus 5 divided by 3 equals? No, I said divided by 3. 2 squared plus 5 divided by 3. Yes, good job. Equals. Yes. Yes. I now have Silas here to pick on me for my old eyes. Yes, ma'am. Yes. All right, just another minute. 2 squared plus 5. I can't see it, sweetie. Yes, correct. All right, let's do another one. 3 squared times 4 divided by 6 times 10 minus 8
Wait, will you read it again?
equals? Good. All right, I'll say it again. 3 squared times 4 divided by 6 times 10 equals?
No, you said minus 8.
Oh, minus 8. Yes, you're right. 3 squared times 4 divided by 6 times 10 minus 8 equals? Nope. Minus 8. Yep. Yes. No. Minus 8. The number you had before was correct, and then you subtract 8.
Just change the 3 to a 2.
Yes. So I'll read it one more time. 3 squared times 4 divided by 6 times 10 minus 8 equals?
Say it one more time.
3 squared times 4 divided by 6 times 10 minus 8 equals?
The one you said before that is the same.
That's correct. I can't see it, Olivia. I'm sorry. What do you have? That is correct. Very good.
All right, what's the next one, Mommy?
Okay, hold on. Good job. Yes, Carissa. All right, we ready for the next one?
Yep.
Okay. 25 divided by 5 times 4 minus 3 plus 4 divided by 7 equals? Yes. Okay, here it is again. 25 divided by 5 times 4 minus 3 plus 4 divided by 7 equals?
One more time.
25 divided by 5 times 4 minus 3 plus 4 divided by 7 equals. Yes. It was 25 divided by 5.
Yeah, but when she gets a 21, it's divided by 7.
Yes.
And that's the last one.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, Carissa, very good. That's correct. Yes, good. Okay, just one more. Good job. All right, here we go. I'll make this the last one. 12 plus 4 divided by 4 times 3 times 5 minus 10 plus 5 divided by 11 equals.
Will you read it again?
Yes, I will. 12 plus 4 divided by 4 times 3 times 5 minus 10 plus 5 divided by 11 equals.
Plus 5
Yes.
minus 10 plus 5 divided by 11.
Yes. Times 5 minus 10 plus 5 divided by 11. Yes, good job. Yes, very good. All right, just another minute.
Can you give us one more?
Sure. Good job. Okay.
Are you trying to take up so much space so we can't do Battleship?
No. 2 cubed divided by 4 times 5 plus 5 equals. 2 cubed divided by 4 times 5 plus 5, I can't read your answer, equals. Yes, Roland. No, but close. So 2 cubed. Let me read it again. 2 cubed divided by 4 times 5 plus 5 equals. Think about what cubed is.
Oh, did you say cube? Sorry.
I said cubed, yep. 2 cubed. 2 times 2 times 2. Yep. That's okay. Well, that is powers. It's just another way to say it. You could say 2 to the third power, but it's 2 times 2 times 2. I think, yes, you got it. Yep, good job. Yeah. No. Yes. Yes, it is. You got it. Good job. Close. You're close. So what is 2 cubed? We have 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So 2 cubed equals 8. So then you have 8 divided by 4. What's 8 divided by 4? 2. What's 2 times 5? 10 plus 5 is 15. Very good. Yep, excellent. I know, those cubes will throw you. Okay. That's the last one. We can do Battleship for just a few minutes, and then we'll go over just a little bit of IEW. Okay, I'm getting my papers all mixed up here. Sorry, guys.
Did you bring your taking over your math?
I did, but if I divide you guys all up to do that, I think it's going to take more time than we actually have. I'm sorry. I'm not sure around the world's going to work very well. And I don't have my cards. So, I'm sorry, guys. I missed the memo, so I didn't have some of the things that I usually have. So I apologize for that. Okay, so between 1 and 100, Rebecca, I'll start with you. What's your number? Just pick something. All right, will you spell your name for me? All right, that is a pretty spelling. Now, what number would you like? 3. Okay. All right. Will you spell your name for me?
SAM.
All right. Thank you, Sam. I figure it was easier to ask you how to spell it than ask you what it was. So what is your number? 37. All right, Matthew. Come on, choose quickly. 83. Good choice. All right, Carissa. Do you have your number, Carissa? 31. Good one. Roland? 13. All right, Arabella? 5. That was fast. Michaela? 53. And Olivia? 20. Just 20? Okay. All right, so for our visitors, I roll 2 dice and tell you what the numbers are. You start with whatever number you picked, add, subtract, multiply, divide, whatever you want to do to try to get to somebody else's number. In this class, we do 3 hits and then you're a ghost. As a ghost, you can still hit other people, but your hits only count as like half a hit. So 2 ghost hits and it counts as a full hit. But when you're ghosted, I will erase your name and put you on a ghost list just for visual to help keep things straight. So let me put the ghosts over here. All right. Let me get the dice. Everybody has paper and something to write with so you can do your calculations. Thank you very much for this. All right. Here we go. See how many people we can get out. All right, we have 3 and 5. So start with your number and then use 3 and 5. Raise your hand when you've hit somebody so I can, if you hit somebody. Yes, Roland? Madison. All right. Yep. Except not 0. We didn't use power 0, did we? Or were we?
Last time.
Okay. Pardon?
Are we using them?
I'll say no, and remember you can't hit somebody 2 times in a row. You have to go away and come back. You can't hit this. You got Arabella. Oh, instead of Madison? Okay. Whew. Breathe a sigh of relief there. Except you got your sister, so.
Wait, what were the numbers again?
It was 3 and 5. So using your number and then 3 and 5. Anybody else hit somebody? You hit Carissa? Okay. All right, any others before I roll again?
Give us, like another minute?
Sure.
Now,
Nope, nobody's in the 90s. We have one that's like way up there, and then the rest of them are, well, 83 is kind of between the middle and the top. All right, do you have a new number? I'll go ahead and roll. Okay. That clock is not working, is it? What time is it? 2:18? Okay, thank you. I just realized that clock was not working. Okay, you ready? New numbers. I don't like those. All right, let's do 4 and 5. So start with whatever your new number was and then use 4 and 5 in some way. Ooh, you did. All right. Okay. Sam, all right. Carissa. All right, any other hits? Still working. How you doing, sweetheart?
Rebecca.
You got Rebecca? Okay. All right, any other hits before I roll again?
I got 37. Sam.
All right, here we go. All right. 2 and 6. Our numbers are 2 and 6. All right, any other hits?
I hit Olivia.
Oh, dun dun dun. All right, Olivia, you are ghosted. But you can still, you got Rolland?
I didn't. He did.
Okay. All right, any others?
I got Arabella.
Arabella? Okay.
I got Sam again.
You can't say someone twice. Oh, you can't?
Not in a row. Not in a row. Yeah, sorry. Because I've had too many students in the past like bam, bam, bam. Dead. All right. I'm going to go ahead and roll. Okay. Finish it. You got to do something quickly. Add, subtract, whatever. I'm going to roll. All right. Our new numbers are 1 and 4.
I got Clarissa.
Okay. Ooh, they're coming fast and furious now.
Oh wait, who hit me?
I don't remember.
Someone whose name
How did he get from so low to so high and so fast?
You hit Sam.
No, he did.
Oh, you're telling her who hit her.
13 and then you rolled in 4.
He multiplied.
Can you use to the 0 power?
You can use powers.
We weren't using to the 0 power. You can use other powers.
You
Cannot use 0 power.
Oh, we can't?
Just don't do it from now on.
Well, we did. Oh, yeah, we did.
Okay, ready for a new roll? I rolled 1 and 4. You ready for a new one? Still working? Okay, let's get some new numbers. Ooh, 3 and 5.
I hit Rollins.
Oh, dun, dun, dun.
Oh, Rollins out?
Rollins out. Well, he can still
Oh,
ghost.
not out, but I mean, his
Right.
His is, okay. That's Sam, Carissa, and Matthew.
Nobody's hit Matthew.
He's like, I'm just saying.
Well, it is on the board. All right, we almost ready for new numbers? Anybody else hit somebody?
I had to skip the last one because I got messed up and then I couldn't do it.
There. All right, let's do new numbers are 2 and 4.
Madison.
Another one. There we go. Don't worry, ghost hits are only like half a hit. So you have to have 2 ghost hits for it to count as a full. Any others?
No, zero powers.
Arabella?
Wait. No.
Okay.
No, wait.
All right, new numbers. One and 5.
Now I hit Arabella.
Ah.
I got Clarissa.
Carissa. Okay.
Yeah.
right, 3 down. 3 haunters. All right, 5 and 6. Oh, Madison and Arabella are hanging on by half a life. Sam just needs one more. Rebecca just needs one more.
Can I hit Sam again? Since Sam, can she hit Sam again?
She can hit Sam if she hits somebody else. Yeah.
Yes, I guess is your answer.
Okay.
Don't hit me.
Are we ready?
No.
Okay. Oh, 2 6s.
I hit Michaela. Oh boy.
All right, any others? We're going to have to stop in just a couple minutes.
I think Matt's gonna win.
You think so? Yeah, nobody's gotten him.
Rebecca, Miss Rebecca. I
Yeah.
got Sam.
You got, oh. Dun, dun, dun.
Who's already done that? Our class is super small today.
It is. And we're missing a few of our live wires too. Some of our students that are away are quite lively. So,
I know.
yeah. Well, the Sims are sick.
Are they?
Mr. Sims and Chris are very sick, according to Michelle. I don't know what they have, but she said they're very sick. But Carissa Sims, yeah. Yeah. All right, we ready for new numbers?
Yes.
All right, this is the last roll. No.
I got 3. I got 1.
All right.
And I hit Michaela.
All right, you did? All right, so we have 2 and 3. Michaela is gone.
No, she's not a ghost.
Oh.
Miss Stephanie's not. She needs one more ghost. Miss Stephanie's. I got Matthew.
Oh.
Matt.
Matthew, you've been haunted.
I don't care. Let's start attacking. Go.
She's already dead.
Oh.
Okay, these are new numbers.
Okay, so that was our last roll. One more? I'll do one more since we have some that are so close. You ready? One more. Oh, that's, yeah. 1 and 4.
I got Madison.
He did? Okay.
Oh, Madison.
But Madison is done if it's another ghost hit, so.
I hit Arabella. Yes.
Ah.
Oh no, it's brother versus sister.
Rebecca versus Matthew. And I think that's where we're ending it. Team Jensen. Way to go, guys. All right.
Oh my goodness, she got Rebecca. No way.
Oh, she did? Oh. What was Rebecca at? What did she have?
I said 2 X's, and Olivia would be a ghost hit, but.
Okay, but still. Good job. Good job. Okay, I only touched these 2. Do you want them left out so you can wipe them off? No, I wasn't going to read papers. So,
Are they still recording?
yeah, it's still recording. Yep. All right, you guys have been great, and I apologize. I'm running on this much energy today. So thank you for your help. So just then, what we're going to end with IEW, so we're finishing out, or should be finishing out, our Faces of History paper this week. Okay? So this week, depending on where you're at, the goal for this week was to write your introduction and your conclusion. I should move this up a bit. And your bibliography. Okay, so real quick, let's just review the components of those two pieces. Remember, it is recommended from when we did this previously that you write the conclusion first. It will flow, if you go right from your body paragraphs into your conclusion, it will help to maintain that flow to your paper. So in your conclusion, you are going to restate your topics. Your topic sentences. You're going to restate those topics from your body paragraphs. And then you're going to say what is most important and why. This person was very important in such and such an area because la da 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 da. Explain why. So whatever you have, whatever significant thing they did or contributed or whatever, you're going to pick something, state it, and why. And then typically you're going to end it your concluding sentence. It brings a lot of symmetry to the paper and a lot of elegance when you can in some way reflect or restate your either your attention getter or some component from your introduction other than your topics. It's usually the attention getter. Okay, so typically write the conclusion after finishing your body paragraphs. Now, introduction, let's review that. So your introduction, you're going to have your attention getter. It can be a question. It can be a short, interesting story about the person to draw your reader in. You could use the very short sentence, 3 very short sentences in a row. Like, he came, he saw, he conquered. That type of idea. We're not doing Julius Caesar because we're not in ancient history, but something like that. So after your attention getter, then you're going to give some background. And this can bleed or lead right into where you are going to state your topics, what you are going to say about the person that you are writing about. So you're going to state your topics. And we were going for 3. We were going for 3 topics with this paper. So in all, 5 paragraphs, your introduction, your 3 body paragraphs, and your conclusion.